Good morning. We're talking about the narrow way versus the wide way. And one of the things that Robert brought out last Sunday, was that Jesus actually walked the narrow way himself so that then we can follow him. Now, one of the interesting things about, if you think about this narrow way versus a wide way, if you're walking on a very narrow path, it's really important to figure out who's in front of you and who's in the lead here. If you're in the lead, then you're not necessarily in an advantageous position. But if you're following the one who has already walked that path and that has walked that way, and you're following him, trying to stay in lockstep with him, not get ahead of him, not get way too far behind him, but walk in step, keeping in step, as Paul says in Galatians, keeping in step with the Spirit, as we actually see that Jesus has walked the narrow way already, that he has walked the kingdom way, that he has walked in this way of complete and total honesty and integrity. He has walked in this way of laying down his life, not just on the cross, but his entire life is a laying down, that he's laying down his agenda. He's laying down his desires for the Father's desires. He's walking in partnership with the Father all the time. He is the one who has gone the narrow way, and he's shown what it looks like to walk the narrow way. And so we look at Jesus. We look to Jesus. He's the one who walked the narrow way. And as we do, courage comes into us to lay down our lives in love for those that God has put into our lives. That as we do that, the kingdom comes. As we walk in that narrow way, the kingdom comes into the now. This is not a later, after you die dynamic. This is a here and now dynamic, that you walk the narrow way that Jesus has walked, and he's the leader and walks with you in it. That's our word for today. We'll talk tomorrow.